Thank you, Sam. Now, Donald Trump has warned there will be bedlam in the United States if he's not given legal immunity from prosecution. The former president was in an appeals court yesterday over claims that he is immune from criminal charges for trying to overturn the 2020 presidential election result. And Trump has warned that he might prosecute Joe Biden if he beats him in this November's presidential election. So chaos as usual in American politics. And to discuss this, I'm joined by the US political journalist Laurie Laird. Laurie, welcome to the show. Always a
Good
pleasure.
afternoon.
Astonishing scenes yesterday. Just when you think it can't get any more insane in American politics, Trump goes nuclear. This time, his attorney yesterday making the case that he couldn't be prosecuted even as president if he ordered the murder of an opponent by the military. What can you try and make sense of this, please, Laurie?
In short, I don't think I can. It is so crazy. We're actually losing the language to discuss what is happening in American politics. We started with all of these Trump cases saying this is historic. And remember when he would drive down to the courthouse when he was in New York and there were drones following him. Historic. We are losing language. Clearly, the U.S. Constitution was not prepared for Donald Trump. But this is an interesting legal question. Can you be prosecuted when you are holding the office of the presidency? And I think it is important that judges consider this question. Now, this was a 3-person judicial panel that will consider this. Ordinarily, courts can take a while to issue a judgment. The judges will be aware that there is a degree of urgency to this, but we don't know when the ruling will come down. You can guarantee whichever side loses this one, there will be an appeal. So we won't see the answer to this for some months yet.
And Laurie, this has been called a tit-for-tat prosecution's case. Quite simply, they're trying to stop Trump any which way they can via the courts, even being on the Republican primary ticket. So this is Trump basically saying, well, I can play at that game too, and if I win, I'm going to come for you. Presumably, that's to try and stop them doing this. But will it work, or will it inflame tensions even further?
Look, at the moment, every time Trump is accused of something, every time there is a court case, it helps his ratings. It also helps his pursuit of money. Now, a lot of the big donors have deserted Donald Trump, and Nikki Haley, who is a rival for the Republican nomination, is bringing in some big donors. But in terms of retail politics, every time Trump is before a court, small donations from his fan base, maybe a smaller fan base or a diminishing fan base, but Donald Trump fans are very deep, very enthusiastic about their support, and this does bring in some money. One thing that surprises me, though, as well as Donald Trump does every time he's in front of a courthouse, he is still spending a lot of money and a lot of time in Iowa. The Iowa caucuses are less than a week away. They take place next Monday. And for a man who has such a big lead, I am surprised at how much time and money Donald Trump is throwing into Iowa. He's doing a town hall meeting there tonight. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis are doing a debate tonight. Remember, Donald Trump has not engaged in any debate with his rivals. But Donald Trump, for all of his lead, spending a lot of time in Iowa.
And it's interesting because none of this seems to have any impact on his polling. In fact, it seems to go up. And it makes you wonder, is the definition of insanity repeating the same thing and expecting a different outcome? When will the Biden camp realise it simply pings off his armour?
Well, I do think something was different about this hearing yesterday. There were fewer Trump supporters around, fewer crowds, and in fact, the coverage was much different than when we first started to see Donald Trump in a courtroom. So I think that the magic of Donald Trump as someone being persecuted by the courts, I think that is starting to wear off a bit. I think that he's probably going to have to do a little bit more than present himself as a victim as we go forward. But, one thing we talk about over and over is we're talking about this rematch of Trump versus Biden. I think that's a probable matchup, but I don't think that we should rule out neither of these men being on the ticket. Donald Trump, because of all of his legal problems, there's a chance that he may not be able to take up the nomination. I do think the nomination is his for the asking, and Joe Biden, the obvious problems where he could not be on the ticket either. So I think we have to start thinking about this. It's likely we'll see Trump Biden, but it's not a foregone conclusion.
OK, well, that election, the greatest show on earth, is November the 5th, which is in Britain, of course. It's fireworks night, and it certainly will be fireworks. It's going to be one to watch. Laurie Laird, US political journalist, thank you for joining us on GB News. Superb stuff. I think American politics is absolutely fascinating. It's one of the few things on earth that makes British politics look sane.